came back to me and said, well, what if we gave you 10% of equity of the company, no money in, just to be the coach? Would you do that deal?
10% to be the coach?
10% to be the coach.
I would do it 20-20-20 is what I call it. I want 20 grand a month, and I want 20% of any of your gross sales that are over and above what you're doing currently. So if I take that to $1 million, 500,000, I want 20% of that. I want an extra 100 grand.
Okay.
And then I want 20% when you sell it, because they have no option.
Right.
Because that's a stupid business. Why I don't want to spend that much time to make 30 grand a month?
Yeah,
I can sell T-shirts on Facebook and make 30 grand a day.
I love it.
I've said all along, from the first time we did this, I'd watch you and me do this shit every day.
I know.
I mean, people having guests on is one thing, but yeah, when you get in somebody's rhythm and you understand each other, and you talk about things as friends and as
that's right,
and about business, where most men don't have that.
Right.
And I think people would enjoy watching two grown-ups talk business.
I've got a buddy named Scott Rouse that's got his own show now on Dr. Phil. He's from Nashville, and he's a body language expert, where they break down body language of people, and him and 3 other dudes just would get together and just take something and break it down. And they would just talk. They just sit around, and he called it just shoot the shit. That's all we did. And they filmed it. And next thing you know, it's got 2 or 3, 4 million views on YouTube. And he's like, this is what people want to watch. They just sit, they whether they're folding their laundry or they're walking around the house or they got their earbuds in, they don't want overpackaged things, you know?
Just real.
So, all right, so we're in studio today here at the Greatness Factory, Level 10 Studios, and I've got a podcast called America's Coach. It's where all of my podcasts go, and I wrote a book called Person of Interest, so I get to spend time with a lot of interesting people. You would rank up there, right up at the top of that list.
I find myself interesting.
You may be the, as that commercial says, the most interesting man on the planet.
I find myself interesting, which is strange.
Well, were you always like that, or was there some moment in time where you clearly understand marketing better than 99% of the people out there? You understand a lot better than I do, because I've been a coach my whole life, and I need to get better at marketing. So, because it ain't business, right? It's show business. Yeah. Were you always thinking like that? Like you wanted to be different? Did you just happen one day to notice that you were different than other people? Or you're like, no, I'm going to make a conscientious effort to stand out and be bold and be different?
I'm going to say I'm lucky enough and I was blessed enough to live 2 different lives. So from 0 to 13, I was the guy that everybody made fun of because I was the poorest kid in school. Yeah. When the school bus drove by my house, everybody laughed at me because that was where I lived. Wow. And then my grandparents took me and my sister from my mother. My mother had been married 13 times before this day. Okay. And I was on February 9th, 1973 at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. My grandmother and grandfather were coming to pick us up, me and my sister, for the weekend. Okay. And me and my mom got in a little struggle that afternoon. She decided she was going to whip my ass again, and I decided that I wasn't going to let her whip my ass again. Okay. So I was going to a place that wasn't going to be pretty. My mom was taking this little sheriff's, they call it like a boys club or boys town. Okay. It's a farm. I think it's boys farm. Okay. You got the farm, then you got juvie, then you got jail, then you got prison. That was my track. So February 9th, 1973, my grandfather said, son, get in the car, and I never came back. Yep. So I'm blessed enough. That is great. I've been poor and I've been rich. Yep. And I know which one I like the most. Yeah. But that made me, if that had not happened, I wouldn't be sitting here and I wouldn't be the person I am. That allowed me to be me. Okay. My grandmother would always say, you're one of those people that people follow, something about you. Don't know what it is. My grandfather said the same thing. Okay. So just telling somebody, and they wouldn't, like, I don't even like this when people tell their kids, you can be or do anything. No, you can't. Right. No. Certain things you can't do, you know. But they were just real with me, and they would say, there's something special about you, something different about you. And so like I want to be in the Boy Scouts, but all my friends say it's you're a sissy or something, and they were talking negatively about it. Now, my grandmother said, if you go join, people will follow you and they will go join. And when they did, and I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
So watching that changed my life. So there's a whole lot of moments like that, but that made me, it's okay to be me.
Yeah.
It's okay to do what I think's the right thing to do. And when I do, people will follow me.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting on somebody else to do it.
Right.
Kind of like when I was a young man and we'd walk in a bar and there's women sitting around at a table.
Yeah.
I was always the guy that would, hey Chuck, go talk to them for us. So I was always that guy. Yeah. And I found that I found it fun, and it's just nice to be able to be yourself.
What does that did you go to college? No college.
Well, I went to college, but I wasn't in college.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just to be real. I was 4.5 years, 9 semesters, and I had 59 hours. I was almost a junior. So another 4.5 years, and I was on the 9-year program.
Do you think people should go or not go?
Yeah, I'm working with Middle Tennessee State University right now. I work heavily in their entrepreneur program.
Yes.
I'm trying to bend them to where they will have a 2-year entrepreneur school. Yep. They're a 4-year college, and they don't want to do a 2-year. That messes up everything. I didn't realize it, from funding to this and that. But if we could get social media influencers that bash college,
right, to
say, I'm going to bash all college, except you need to go to, there's things you need to go to school for.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says. If I'm spending 2 years in school, or if you're going to spend 4 years of your life to go get an entrepreneur major, if you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to be able to read and write. Right. You got to be able to, I use this term all the time, you got to be able to inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
If I'm reading my attorney, my general counsel's papers that were sent into something about a lawsuit, I need to be able to read that instead of just depending on my general counsel. It's important. I'm at a restaurant the other day, and they've got a 20% addition. So if you, during holidays, a lot of people do this. If you buy a $1,000 gift card, they'll give you $1,200.
Okay.
I told the lady, I want to buy one. She says, well, it ended yesterday, but we'll have it one more day between now and Christmas. How much did you want to buy? I want to buy 10,000. She said, holy shit. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. Normally it's 100 or 50 or maybe 200, but 10 grand. I went, I feel stupid not to. I'm going to come to this restaurant a bunch in the next year, and I'm going to give you 10 grand and get $12,000 worth of food. This is why you go to college. She goes, you just need to do 8,000 then. I went, where did 8,000 come from? So this ain't going to last long, but this is important. Go to college, people.
Yeah.
She said, so what you're asking for is an $8,000 card, and that's going to give you $10,000. I went, no. Well, I knew what she was doing, but I said no. And I had 2 other people with me that were agreeing with it. I said, I never said 8,000. I want a $10,000 card. I'm going to give you $10,000 in cash, and you're going to give me a $12,000 gift card, and I'm going to come eat here a bunch. She goes, so you need $8,000. And I'm going, how in the hell we keep going to 8,000? She goes, well, 8,000 plus the 20% gives you 10,000.
Right.
I said, you're telling me that 20% of 8,000 is 2,000? Yeah. And I'm going, that's why you need to go to college. So she's talking about $9,600 card, and so we went in this circle, go to college.
Yeah. Well, I've always wanted to, like you're involved in the entrepreneur school, and I've always thought, well, I want to, have a institute of coaching performance, or people that want to be coaches, because there's a lot of people who think they want to coach today, but they're not ready for that. So you go to college, you get out, you do a number of jobs, right?
Yeah.
And you end up selling timeshares, right?
Yeah.
I mean, after a number of things.
Much of things.
Right.
30 years of work.
30 years of work. I mean, because you've caught some serious steam, and you're the one who always says people get real wealthy in their 50s.
I don't think that anybody makes money till they're 50.
Okay. So you did all these things over
Now, if you do make money before 50, you about to get stupid money.
Okay.
But that's just how it works. I mean, at 50, you can do anything. You should be able to do anything physically that you did at 20.
Yep.
But you ain't going to get a whole lot smarter. So if you're broke at 48, you're good. You're practice.
Okay.
That's warm up.
Okay.
50 is when life starts.
But so for you, you're going down this path. You're doing these jobs. You land selling timeshares. You know, most people have heard me interview you. You figure out that it wasn't a good deal for people, and
Not the way I was selling.
not the way you were selling it. And then you go, I'm gonna. Did you think it was a business idea when you first started, or is it like, how did that happen?
It was the first business ever started by accident.
Okay.
Everything else that I had planned and failed or was success was something that I scheduled and planned and wrote out a little business plan and everything that you do when you start a business. I simply did not want to go to hell for selling timeshare. That's what I told everybody then, and I'm going to stick with it. But, yeah, I didn't want to go to hell for selling timeshare. I've done enough stupid shit if God wants to send me there
Yeah.
for hopefully a quick little visit, and I'm out. But I've done enough stupid stuff.
Right.
Selling timeshare just need to be on the list.
Yeah.
And so I simply called people back that I'd sold timeshare to. So this is what I said to you, that was a lie. And sometimes I knew I was lying, which
Right.
is disgusting.
Right.
But God didn't take me there, just take me there.
Right.
God took me there to take me here.
Right.
And he took me here to go somewhere else. So he had a plan, and I fell into that plan, and I was aware enough to keep my eyes open and my ears open and watch. But like I said, not everybody that sells timeshare lies.
Right.
Not every timeshare company is a bad company.
Right.
There's some bad people and
That's right.
in a business that anytime you're pushing numbers and sales numbers, you're gonna have somebody stretch a little bit. Timeshare is just, it's easy to do.
That's right.
And people do it. And the group of people that I was working with in Nashville in that period, we had a little hustle going, I would say, and we were doing the wrong thing. And I called people and said, this is what I said to you. I didn't know I was lying, or I did know, and that's a hard call.
Yeah.
But this is what you need to do to get out of it. And I had one lady say, I've got a friend. Would you help her? And I said, well, I will, and I was broke. I mean, I was making $281 a week plus commission, and I quit.
Yeah.
And I was broke. I took a job. I'd be gone from making 50, 100, 200 a month, and good money in the 80s, 90s, and then all of a sudden my wife dies. I stay home for 3 years, curled up in a ball. I go broke. I mean,
Wow.
repoing cars and losing homes and broke. You can't get no broker, and I was broke.
Right.
With a 480 credit score.
Wow.
I mean, broke. And so I had to get a job, and I got the job at Wyndham, and yeah, I was probably their worst hire.
I bet they look back on that one and go,
I would imagine they wish they had not hired me, but now, yeah, I don't think they dislike me as much now. We're starting to understand each other, and that's good. It's we've helped the timeshare industry, and timeshare industry's helped me. So it's hard for me to talk negatively about the timeshare industry.
So you start this business, it becomes a big business. I mean, how long did that take? Slowly. How long did that take? You know, and I know it's a privately held company, so you don't have to share any numbers that you don't want to, but it becomes, I mean, like a big business.
Yeah, we were Inc. 500 company in 2020 and 2021, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we were steadily at 100 a year.
Okay.
We're at about 130 run rate right now.
Okay.
But of course, to get to that part, it's the fun part. And if you don't enjoy what I just called the fun part,
Yeah.
because it's hell.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy that, don't do this. Not everybody's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So as my book says, entrepreneurship is a mental disorder.
Yeah.
I have the mental disorder. You have it.
Yep.
Not everybody has it, because you're going to lose. You're going to get knocked down on the ground, and you're not going to want to get up.
Yep.
But you got to get up or you failed.
Right.
The only way to lose being an entrepreneur, is to quit.
Right.
But not everybody has a stomach for losing homes and cars and
That's
having
right.
your water cut off and your electricity cut off. And
Right.
you got to be a little nuts to do this.
So during that period where you're grinding it out, you start small with, I guess, a few people.
Me.
Just you, and people called you.
Me. I bought a list of
Okay.
people that own timeshare.
Okay.
And I started off calling everybody that I sold when I was in the timeshare business. They referred me to 2 people. When I really got the light bulb, like, could this be a business? Was when I had the 2 referrals, and one paid me like $3,500. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was to me back then.
Right.
And then somebody else referred a gentleman to me that owed a lot, hundreds of thousands of dollars on his timeshare, and they paid me $25 grand.
Okay.
And they paid me half down, half when I got him out, and I got him out in 60 days maybe. It wasn't long.
Okay.
25 grand, and I went. So I bought a list of timeshare owners, started calling them, got a few sales, and a guy that I met at Wyndham, we talked and we formed a little business together. He handled the admin part. He handled getting them out of timeshare part. I handled the sales. I hired my oldest son as my first employee.
Okay.
We set a little round table in my kitchen out in Mount Jewett, Tennessee on the lake. Just my old dialing, smiling and dialing, and had a little telemarketing operation in their house.
Wow.
And then we got an office, and then it just kept. And then you get your wars, and your wars are from outside in this business. There was a lot of people in the timeshare industry suing me.
Right.
But everybody has what I'm about to say. The biggest war you'll ever face in business comes from the people inside the walls of your company.
Wow.
Though people are the reason we have dogs and cats.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for people, we would not need a dog or a cat. No. People are mean.
Yeah.
People take care of themselves,
Yep.
too much so. And I don't want to say it's worse than it ever been. Then I was like my granddaddy, but it's like everybody cares about how much money they make.
Yeah.
And they don't worry about you.
Right.
That's going to happen. That's going to happen. Family.
Yep.
Sometimes your spouse gets jealous because you're making more.
Yep.
That's weird.
Yep.
When he or she's right there part of it. But your biggest problems for me in life or business come with the people that you trust and you think are on your team.
Yeah.
If all you had to do is worry about people from the outside coming in,
Right.
lawsuits or whatever it could be, whatever business you're in, that's the second thing you need to worry about. Make sure you got to worry about the people that directly, the ones that you feel like you can share your life with.
Yeah.
Because they work with you and they share the same dreams and goals. They don't.
Yeah.
Some do.
Right.
Finding those is what goes from having a somewhat successful existence on earth to abundance.
Yeah.
Freedom. It's finding the right people.
Well, I think it was maybe John, I think it's Dryden that said, life's oldest law is self-preservation.
Yeah.
You know, and when you understand when there's change or growth and what the brain does and how it's afraid of everything, and you know, like we're bringing in a chief revenue officer, and that's part of my growth to get this company to where I want to go. And you know, all the stuff goes through your brain. It's like, well, what's he? Is he going to come in and change everything? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you got to do it, but the brain just, you know. Then the other employees are like, what's he going to do? Fire everybody? And everybody's nervous and scared. And versus, man, this is a next step for us.
You have to. What you just said is the exciting parts of life.
Yeah.
And it's what you must do to grow a business. You must be okay, and most people are not.
Right.
You got to be okay with walking in a conference room and you being a little nervous to walk in. This is your damn company.
Right.
You built this.
Yeah.
I'm walking in and I got a COO and I got a president and I got a CFO, I got a CRO, and that are all smarter than me. I'm scared to talk. That's when you're in the right meeting. If you walk in and you're showing, y'all just step back and listen to me. I got this.
Well, I said to him when we had our first meeting, I said, this is going to be a short meeting. And he said, why? And I said, because you only got one role, and that's to grow the revenue of the company. And I said, if you know, it's like, and I expect you to tell me how we're going to do it, not me to tell you.
No.
I own the company. Right. You know, I'm paying you to come in and grow the company.
But then you got to learn how to inspect what you expect. So you got to watch him and be involved. And again, if you're not interested in putting in this many hours to be an entrepreneur, do not do this. But you got to know everything that your CRO's doing.
Yep.
And you got to he's got to understand your feel.
Yep.
He's got to understand the lines that you will not cross.
That's right.
Because he may think, I don't care, I'm going to cross every line because Coach just wants to be successful.
Right.
So he's got to understand you.
Yeah.
So like when I hire somebody, it's like they have to know the Wesley way, we call it. You got to understand what we do and how we do it. You got to understand that family is first.
Yeah.
I got a sick child, and is it okay? No. You don't even have to talk past that.
Okay.
Is it okay? You got a sick child, dude. You don't come in and take care of your family. Family's first. But yeah, I get all excited and start talking about it because the people that you bring in, the people that you allow, that you surround yourself with, is either what's going to make or break, or make times 100.
Yep.
If I was scared to surround myself with people smarter than me, I would still be a really small company right now.
Yeah.
I'd have 12 employees.
Yeah.
10 employees. I'd be making pretty good money, but not what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And it's just fun.
Yeah.
But it's fun. If you got anybody that brings drama or undercurrent, or you're an asshole, that's my 3 rules. I watched somebody the other day. You probably know who it is, a local guy, a young man in the real estate business. He's good. He thinks he's better than he is. He's like 28. He can't be too smart at 28. Sorry, those are 28. Good news is, if you think you're smart now, you're not.
Right.
But you're going to be.
Yeah.
But he put on his social media, no drama, no undercurrent, no assholes. I've been using these 3 things my entire life. I wanted to type in, since you and I had lunch, like 6 months ago. But I don't care, steal it. I stole shit from everybody. I stole everything from Zig Ziglar, Tom Hopkins had, and I still steal. I go on Instagram today, man, you got this little girl down in Miami, Florida, blonde. And then a little portion, and have you seen her?
Nope.
She's got some sales, so we got some closes. I start raising my voice, talking like Blaine Bishop on 104.5. Okay. I listen to her and I go, damn, that's good. There's so many good people out there that have really good knowledge and information that you can learn from, and being smart enough to do that. Steal ideas from other people.
And did somebody give you a book? Did you? Because you'd be shocked how many people out there in the world just kind of have an ignorance towards self-development and personal development. You and I both have houses down in seaside watercolor. You got beachfront. I'm not on the beach.
It won't be long.
But Natalie and I went to dinner one night down there, and we're sitting at the bar at Ambrosia, which is a steakhouse, and the guy beside me is on a business. Nice family, started talking to us, and he said, man, I've been doing this business for 27 years. We own it, distributors out of Knoxville. He said, it does about $5 million a year. And he said, I could sell it today for $1 million and I'd be set. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm sitting here going, 27 years.
Wow.
You're going to sell it for $1 million. Wanted to turn the business over to his son. And I said, has your son ever had any professional coaching? Has he ever been involved? Have you? I'm sitting there thinking, man, this dude's never been coached.
Yep.
He's never been around it. He's never been, right? Because if he was, he wouldn't be thinking like this.
No, he doesn't know what he's missing.
He don't even know. So for you, was it like somebody said, hey, go to this seminar, Tom Hopkins, go to this Zig Ziglar, because I did an event last week with Tom Ziglar, which is Zig's son. And, man, think about being Zig Ziglar's son. You know what I'm saying? The pressure of that. He said for the first 5 years, it just crushed him.
I'd love to have
Yeah, I know. So it's like, so when you think about it, did somebody turn you on to that, or did you just out of necessity get involved in it? And then you kind of been involved in it. Now you're in that business because you're really, with your new books and your concepts, you're moving into that consultant role.
Yeah. And I love it. When I consult with someone else, there's something that's just really, I can't explain it yet. It's kind of like the first time I spoke on a big stage. And I got paid to do it. I went, wow, I get paid to, I'm playing poker with the audience. I get to watch their body language, and I hate it when I'm speaking. It's just a big bright light. I'll do it, but it's just, I miss something about it I miss. But, again, it goes back to my Cutco knives days. And there was just something, I hate to say that people are born with it or not born with it, because I really don't know the answer, but I know me, and what I enjoyed was I enjoyed the art of a sale. I enjoy the conversation with people.
Yeah.
I enjoy the old kitchen table, knee to knee.
Yeah.
And selling Cutco knives, I have the best product on earth. They're still the best. I talk about it all the time. They're still the best kitchen knives you can buy.
Yep.
So if you're in the market for some kitchen knives, I don't sell them anymore. But if I look at somebody's resume that they're interviewing with me, and they have Cutco on there, and they were there for a year or two, you just stop talking. I don't even need you to talk anymore.
Wow.
You're hired. It's something that company does, or did back then, to instill something in me. And I really don't know how it changed my life, but it did. I tell you, though, when I was told that I could get a 5% override off anybody I recruited,
Yep.
and I put a pencil to it, and I went, so if I'm not working, and I even asked these questions, I didn't know. So if I don't sell any knives this week, but I go hire 1,000 people, I can make how much? Is there a max? Nope. So I can make as much as I want to make. You can hire as many people as you want.
Yep.
You just got to follow these guidelines, and they taught me how to do the group hiring session. I got a little rope. I'm cutting a rope, and I'm slicing a piece of bread 3 ways with a slicer. I mean, I still got the old pitch down. And I go to MTSU. I'm 17 years old, junior, senior in high school. I'm going to MTSU, hiring kids that are getting out of college for the summer to go to work for a summer job. We put up little posters all over campus, high schools and colleges. And back then it was like $8 an hour. Summer work, $18 an hour or commission. Or summer work, $8 an hour, something like that. What we did was we show them, if you sell 1 out of 3, every appointment you get takes an hour, we'll give you $8.
Okay.
Or you're going to sell at least 1 out of 3.
Yep.
And if you sell 1 out of 3, you're going to make $100. So on the back of your application, write down commission or $8 an hour.
Yep.
And if they wrote down $8 an hour, I threw them in the trash.
Right.
I didn't want to hire anybody that wanted $8 an hour.
Right.
I want to hire people that believed enough in themselves to go sell their friends and family some damn kitchen knives. If you can't do that, I don't want to spend time with you.
Yeah.
Well, when I started doing that, our numbers just kept going up, and I just kept hiring and hiring and hiring.
Yep.
So I've not thought about this in so long, but Cutco Knives is, and understanding the skill set behind recruiting and group hiring, and then in the insurance business, it was all about recruiting. I had to hire 4 new insurance agents every week, and I had to sell $10,000 worth of premium. I had to do both.
Yep.
That changed me too. So there's several things, but mainly my grandmother and grandfather having the belief in me and telling me that I was different and I had something, and I am.
Yeah.
And so I look back now, these were not people that made shit up.
Right.
I mean grandfather's a World War II Marine, construction business, paving. I mean, it's not a man that's going to fluff shit up for you a little bit.
Right.
He ain't fluffing your pillow up before you lay your head down at night, you know? So what he's telling you is real. But when he says there's something different about you, you're different than my sons, and having somebody to say that to you and telling you it's okay to be you.
Well, let me ask you this question about kids, because you got 2 sons that are really talented.
Yes.
I mean,
insane.
Great kids, number one.
They've had the coach.
But that's what I'm saying.
They've had.
And I have.
I wish I had that.
Yeah. I mean, just think about. It's like, I have 3 kids, and the girls are. We flew on your plane just a few. You saw the girls.
Love them.
They'll punch you in the face, man.
Oh yeah.
And my son is he's like the sweetest little boy, and he'll say, "Dad, I love you."
Yeah.
I mean, so where did you step in with your kids? Do you believe in? Did you really push them? Did you put them in tough spots? Did you let them fail? Did you? I mean, how did you do such a good job of getting them to where they are?
Well, especially the oldest one. The oldest one was my first employee.
Yep.
So we've worked together a little bit longer.
Yep.
Cameron went to college.
Yep.
So Charles and Cameron are the name. Charles came to me right when we got our first office with Wesley Financial, and I told him he needed to go to college. He was 22, 21. And I said, "You need to go to college." He said, "No, I want to be you." I said, "No, you don't, son."
Yeah.
These are why.
Wow.
I went through bankruptcies, foreclosures. These are the negatives of being an entrepreneur and being sales, marketing business.
Yeah.
And he said he wanted to, I want to do everything that you've done. So I picked up the phone, called Tom Hopkins' office, and he went to Tom's very last little workshop. And Cameron went to college. But when Cameron got out of college, one of the first things he said was, I didn't realize this was this big of a deal. I thought we just had a little small company. He didn't realize it. But Charles and Cameron have had training that knows nobody. It's not just because of me.
Yeah.
Well, it is because of me. But taking all my life and work experience and poured into them at such a young age. I take them to meetings that they have no business being at.
Yeah.
I'll take them to meetings with lobbyists and politicians in Florida.
Wow.
I'll walk them in Neil and Harwell, sitting with Aubrey Harwell and 20 attorneys talking about crazy stuff. They're just looking at me like, but when they get a little older and they walk in those meetings, they're gonna remember how I acted, how I spoke, how everybody spoke, and they listen and they learn. And my old saying, got lots of sayings, but you got to see it to be it.
Yeah.
And your kids.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even think about this.
Yeah.
Your kids now, they're probably not going to remember this, but if you start stacking it, I got on a private plane.
Right.
Go to Florida, and I do this, and I'm riding around in this big nice car.
Yeah.
But kids that don't see it. Yeah. How are you going to be it?
They're never exposed to it. No. And exposure is an activator of prey drive.
Yeah, absolutely. But the main thing you just asked me is how I manage my sons, and I've been real hard on them.
Yeah.
To the point that I've had to apologize.
Wow.
But they understand. I would say, you do know why I'm so hard on you, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know where I came up with this, but I've always said this. If something happened to me today and I'm gone from this earth, I want to be able to drop my kids on their head in Omaha, Nebraska, with $1,000. Can you make $1 million in the first year?
Yeah.
And the answer to both of them today is, oh yeah. Yeah, I pay them really well.
Yep.
They could make a lot more money not working with Dad.
Yep.
But I've cut their pay on Christmas.
Wow.
I sent one of them home. I sent Charles home for 2 weeks. I told him, if you come in late to the office, if you come in late, I'm going to send you home.
Yep.
He came in like 9:05 for a 9 o'clock meeting.
Yep.
I grew up, if you were there at 8:46, you're a minute late.
Yep.
The Marine, my grandfather. Charles came in late one day, and I said, obviously you got some other shit to do that's really important, so you go home for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I didn't talk to him for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I mean, but how am I going to train them?
Yeah. See, this is where I think, I kind of got a concept that I taught last week called the successful failure. It's where you're real sick. Because one day, this is what I did. I did this exercise on the plane. It's in this thing, and for whatever reason, I put, my net worth on the right side. And I said, man, I've come a long way from being a high school basketball coach.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then on the left side, I put all these roles that I had: husband, son, dad, friend. Because sometimes I'm a terrible friend, man. Meaning, Tommy Davidson calls, man, I'm speaking, I can't be, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, sometimes I just have to tell him, man, I'm sorry for being such a terrible friend.
Every successful business person is a bad friend.
Yeah.
You can't do both.
Well,
not with everybody.
I kind of did this exercise. I was trying to find it here where there it is right there. So I put my net worth over here.
Yep.
Okay. Yours is a little bit more than mine. And then, but this ain't bad for an old high school basketball coach.
All right, now how old are you again?
48.
You're just getting started. So you're at that.
Yep.
And everybody else is at 0.
Yep.
That's how you need to look at it.
Yeah. And then I put all these roles over here, Chuck. And look at what I put over here, 5 or less on some of them. I ranked myself at a 5. Man, I could be a better husband. I could be a better dad. I could be a better, because the truth is, I was so hard on my kids, when I was a basketball coach. And I look back on that period of my life, and we won, and those are like little machines, man. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes did I go too far practicing them at 4:30 in the morning? After we lose a game, practicing in Lebanon's gym, after we lost.
Love it.
But then I go, that's why we're so freaking good.
Yes, there is.
That's why we built a dynasty.
They remember that.
So sometimes it's like I feel like I need to be tougher on my kids, but it's like I tell Natalie, it's like, it's like, man, I'm so hard. It's like sometimes I need to, be tougher on them because because I feel like I'm not preparing them to be successful.
Well, how old are they?
12, 4, and 2.
Yeah, 4 and 2. Yeah, just leave them alone. The 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, at 12 you have to start instilling. To me, I got the hat on, but start instilling the touch the line.
Yeah.
That's not something that's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's not something that's hard to do.
I love that. And
it's
tell
just,
people what that is because that's one of your big concepts.
Yeah, it's just, playing sports when I was younger, even if you never played sports, you had PE class, and you would start on the baseline, you run to the free throw line, you touch the floor, you go back to the baseline, touch the baseline, half court, touch it, and you do the suicide. We've all done this. Well, we've all had someone right beside us that I'm touching the line because that's what the coach told me to do.
Yeah.
He didn't say come as close as you want to. Nobody ever said that.
Right.
Hey, just get as close as you want to. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just okay. You can touch it. You can run over it. You can stop a foot short. It don't matter. Who cares? I mean, there ain't no coach doing that.
Right.
Touch the damn line.
Yep.
And then so I touch the line. I see somebody beside me not, and I would start thinking if that guy would touch the line, and I touch the line, and this guy touches, and everybody touches the line.
Yep.
What are we gonna do when we call 61 trap?
Right.
Are you gonna really get that block? Are you gonna pull properly? Are you gonna take the handoff properly? Are you gonna hand it? Are you gonna touch the line all the way through? How do you win at anything if everybody around you is not touching the line?
Yep.
I can win because I touch the line. But if I'm part of any team, business or sports, any team, and the person beside me or I'm working with is not touching the line, I've never understood that.
Yeah.
But I am OCD and ADD. Like I walk in your office and your desk is not square. It's sitting in the back of a corner, which is, I love that. I couldn't do it. But see, my brain sees little things like that. And it's just an angle in business and sports are angles and touching line. If everybody uses the proper angles, and we would get into business, so my proper angles, that's deep. We could go hours, which would be good to do. Need a whiteboard. But just touching line daily is not an exhausting thing to do. If you do it properly, you're not even thinking about it. You're just simply doing, I said the other day, to simplify it, just do shit the right way.
Yeah.
Make up your bed the right way, or not make it up. I got some days I wake up and somebody says, well, the key to life is wake up, tell yourself you love yourself 10 times in the mirror and make up your bed. Man, I mean.
But really, when I built this building, if we bring in a cleaning crew, I know when they don't touch the line. I know when I walk through and something's not where it should be, we don't touch the line.
Yep.
I know when, it's like when something's not the way it should be because people hadn't touched the line, right?
Yep.
And I think to me that is a simple. So what are you going to do with that concept? Because you got the new book coming out. When's the new book coming out?
Book should be out. It depends on me, but if I do what I've promised I'm gonna do, which I'm gonna have to do, I'm not touching the line.
That's right.
It'll be out around my birthday in March.
Okay. And that is called, the title of that book is what?
It's called Entrepreneurship is a Mental Disorder.
Yep.
And it's going to upset some people, but I'm right.
Yep.
I'm right.
And is touching the line a separate concept?
Touch the Line is going to be discussed in the book.
Okay.
The Touch the Line is my next book.
Yep.
And we're obviously coming out with some Touch the Line merch and trying to teach the world what a different country we'd be if two things have been really heavy on my mind. Two things. If we just do this, if we get everybody touch the line, what a world this would be. Just touch it, not wringing the towel dry is another one I'll talk about. That's extra.
Right.
I'm talking about you do your job and you touch the line. And then if I'll add this, and if we could fix this, if we would only worry about the things that we should worry about. So you worry about a lot of things. You got to. You got a lot going on. I worry about a lot of stuff. I worry about stuff that I know ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
That I know I don't have to worry about, but I'm still worried about it.
Yep.
And then I go to some scripture.
Yep.
I start reading about believing and having faith, and whatever you ask for in prayer, you shall receive.
Yep.
So in other words, I can ask for anything
Yep.
in prayer, and if I believe, that believe word though,
right.
it sticks you. I really believe I can do that, and I not have to worry about it.
Yep.
But learning how to only worry about what you should worry about.
Yep.
In our life, there's probably 2 or 3 things that we worried about that we should have.
Yeah.
Out of the millions of things that we stress over. So.
Yeah. Well, and be anxious for nothing. Be anxious for nothing.
Anxiety.
I mean, the anxiety, I know in your business and the kind of battles you fight, the anxiety. You know, I had a coach once that called it fantasizing and catastrophizing.
Wow. I like that.
He said, you have the gift of vivid visualization. You could see it in the mind's eye very clear. He said, you don't see one greatness factor, you have 50 in your mind.
Exactly.
He said, before you've even built the first one. And then you can go to negative town, which is catastrophizing.
Yep.
It's like you wake up with all this anxiety. And, you know, so it was really helpful when he coached me through that. And he taught me a simple tool, because you're into coaching and all these things. He said, anytime you have that anxiety, I want you to say one thing to yourself: I'm not going there today. I'm at my best when I stay in creation. He said, I want you to karate chop it. Karate chop it, push it over there. Say, I'm not going there today.
Yep.
I'm at my best when I am creating. I'm at my best. Dan Martell said something to me, and I think about you a lot, because Martell wrote Buy Back Your Time, and he's been here a couple times, super dude. And I said, you know, when I built this building, I never built a $7-8 million building before. And there's a lot of anxiety and big overhead. And he said, Coach, name a time in your life when your back was against the wall that you didn't figure out a way to win.
Exactly.
And I go, man, I can't remember. He said, that's what you tell yourself. That's what you tell yourself. Because with you, I was doing a session this week on how do big-time people make decisions? Like, what's the matrix they use?
That's a good one.
And you have a real, what I would call psychological flexibility, which is the ability to move towards something. You've already made up your mind. There is no losing. You only learn something.
That's right.
So you're the one who told me I can bet on 10 things, and all I need is one of them to hit.
All I need is one.
But very few people have that, especially the analytics, the analytical mind. It's like they want to know. And then I'm doing all this stuff with Pritchett, who wrote Quantum Leap, and one of his chapters in the book is focus on the ends, not the means.
Yep.
And you do that.
Yep.
So you wake up. So what is your philosophy? Do you have a matrix that you use when you're making a big decision to invest in something? Because you got businesses, you made investments in things. Some of them have hit big. Like you got medical house calls, which is going to be huge. You got the
I got a bunch of failures.
Yeah, that's right.
But
so is it like a little checklist you go through, or is it just pure instinct, man? It's like, I can make this work.
You know, as I say, it's you have to have a little of each. But the key is what we talked about earlier is if I'm sitting around a conference table and I'm in a conference room, and let's say we have what I call a CEO download. So we have a CEO download twice a week for an hour.
Okay.
Where I have people sitting around. The people around the table are people that I care what they have to say. And we talk about things that are going on in the office. Maybe we may talk about one topic. Each one, I may go around the room, and each person brings up whatever they're working on. Yep. So I know. And it allows me to listen, read body language. So if I'm talking about, let's say, medical house calls and whether or not we're going to open up another state, I listen to everybody's opinion. I used to listen to everybody's opinion and just do whatever I thought I needed to do.
Okay.
But just act like I was listening to them.
Yeah.
But I want to, again, I want people who are sitting at that table that I know are so much wiser than me in what they do.
Right.
Everybody needs to do their job.
Right.
Don't be bleeding over doing my job. Don't try to think for me.
Right.
But I need that CFO to do their job.
Yep.
And I need that COO to do, and they know what their job is. But when I listen to each one of them, then I take it all in, and I'd like to sleep on it. I used to think that was a waste of time.
Yep.
Now I've learned that, you know, when you get in a heated conversation, and you go, man, I wish I'd have said it this way. We all do that. Well, we do the same thing in a business, you know, our business brain. You know, if I'd have thought about that just a minute, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Yep.
I think we always do that. And I think it's important to just got really, really good people that love themselves and love their family.
Yeah.
If you love yourself and love your family, there's a small chance you're going to love me and the company you work with.
Yeah.
So, and just listen to them. Again, it's just having, good people. And then at the end of the day, it has to do this. Most people look at a business, start off with how much money can I make?
Yeah.
Get it, but that's not what is important. The next thing is, can I market it?
Yeah.
Next thing, is it good for the people? Is it good for the consumer?
Yeah.
Whoever pays me for this product or service, is it a great deal?
Yeah.
If you'll flip that upside down, now you get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Now you got, is it good for the consumer?
Okay.
If it is good for the consumer, can I get it to them? Open medical house calls down in 30A.
Yep.
Good for the consumer? Can I get it to them? The answer is no. We're shutting down end of this year.
Okay.
We have clients that go on vacation there.
Yeah.
But getting to people in the 7-day window that they're on vacation, there's not enough people that live in Destin, all of 30A, or Panama City Beach to support medical house calls. Not enough people. Now I could have one person down there.
Yeah.
But that's not the kind of business I want to do.
Right.
We need to go to Knoxville, Memphis, and Atlanta.
Yeah.
But so that is looking at the data, looking at the numbers, looking at who you have there,
Yeah.
and being able to make a move and knowing when the proper time to cut off. And not everybody, I'm not good at that. Yeah. I just lost $20 million in a mortgage company. Once it hit $5 billion, I went, I probably should stop. Once I got to $10 million, a buddy of mine in the mortgage business says, if you don't close the business by the end of this year, I'm never talking to you again.
Yeah.
And I lost another $10 million. But
yeah.
because I always preach, you've heard me say it sitting here,
yeah.
the only way you lose is quit. So I ain't quitting.
So I've got one for you. And
yeah.
This will be good. All right, so because I get deals every week. And
got to have deal flow.
The Greatness Factory is really a deal factory.
Yes, it is.
And you taught me to talk about this Greatness Factory as it's going to be bigger than Amazon. It's the biggest thing. It's the biggest thing.
Remember when I asked you how big you think it'll be? I think it's going to be big. I said you need to start saying it. I'm smarter than Jeff Bezos. This idea is better than Amazon.
I love it.
Now, Amazon is the greatest business move in the history of business.
All right, so here, I want the listener to see how you would evaluate this deal. This is a deal that I got this week.
All right.
It's a mortgage company.
Do you, boy?
Okay. Guy founded it, created it, has to step out of it for some reasons. Year to date, it's closed $63 million. Projected over $65 million closing out. From the numbers he shared, current net cash $30K per month. On track to do $85 million in 2025. $40,000 of profit with no additional LOs. Purchase price $400,000. So this is the deal they originally brought to me.
Yep.
Okay, buy it for $400,000. It's doing net cash $480,000
a year.
A year.
Yeah.
And I said, well, then they came back to me and said, well, what if we gave you 10% of equity of the company, no money in, just to be the coach? Would you do that deal?
10% to be the coach?
10% to be the coach.
20.
Okay. 20% to be the coach.
Yeah. I would tell them, I would do a 20-20-20 is what I call it.
Okay.
I talk about it with people a lot. I do 20-20-20. I want 20 grand a month.
Okay.
And I want 20% of any of your gross sales that are over and above what you're doing currently. So I think you said they're making $480 a year.
Yep.
So if I take that to $1 million, so that's $500,000. I want 20% of that. I want an extra $100 grand.
Okay.
And then I want 20% when you sell it.
Okay.
Because they have no option.
Right.
Because that's a stupid business. Why I want to spend that much time to make 30 grand a month?
Yeah,
I can sell T-shirts on Facebook and make 30 grand a day.
I love it.
Why would you want to?
Well,
so here's the problem with the mortgage industry.
Yep.
Is you got to go up. You got to send your salespeople, which they call loan officers.
Yep.
Loan originators. They're salespeople.
Yep.
So you got to send your salespeople out, and they're selling, and they're going up against your Rockets and Bank of Americas and all the big financial institutions or mortgage companies or banks. Your salespeople don't have the same bullets in their gun as they do.
Yep.
You do not have the best services or products. If you don't have the best services or products, it's okay.
Yep.
To not have the best services or products.
Yep.
But if you have one product or service that's better than anybody's, and you can build a niche around that,
Yep.
I go to war with you.
Yeah.
But it's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for 30 grand a month.
Yep.
That's not any money anymore.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Dropping names here. My buddy Luke Bryan's got a little cigar place.
Yep.
And in Florida, and I said, dude, you need to sell that cigar place to me. He goes, I really should, Chuck, because I spend $1 million a year in thoughts to make $100,000.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when I want to go open a restaurant in downtown Franklin.
Yep.
My wife says, yeah, you're liable to put in 80 hours a week, make $100,000 a year. So you got to pick your spots.
Yeah.
You would be great for that company, and you could take that company to another level where you get a piece of it just to coach.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's as long as it's, but it's going to become a time
Yeah.
where that's something that you don't have time to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think choosing at this point in my life with the deal flow that we have coming in, and I mean, that's a big thing. So the matrix to me is very important. How to make these decisions, how to say no to things.
Boy.
And well, I think here's what I think. You have so much wisdom, and I'm excited about seeing you do some coaching, because I think people would get on your jet, fly to Florida, spend a couple days with you.
Yeah.
I'm talking big time people, guys like me, who would just go back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Pitch and catch. Well, what would you do about this? What do you think about this? Man, I want to build this company. Man, I got this idea. How would you market this? So that's where I see you going in the next year. And if you and I and Jay Abraham do something, so I want people to be on the lookout for that.
Yes.
Masterminding, spending time. All of us have our own skill sets, our specialized skill sets. But not only are you a brilliant dude, you're a great friend. And I want to thank you, brother. And just I don't have a lot of good friends, man. I almost get emotional thinking about it.
Well, it's I have a lot of people, as you do, that will call me and text me, and I don't even get back with them.
Yeah.
And I've seen other people get in the same spot, and I always wondered,
Yep.
how do you not call your friends back?
Right.
And I try to keep my Wednesdays open where I could take an hour or two to call some people. But if you hadn't talked to a really good friend in 10 years, and as I say that, I think of a female friend of mine I grew up in high school with. We used to talk all the time. I hadn't talked to her in a couple of years.
Yeah.
It bothers me. I think about it every day.
Yeah.
So every now and then I'll just send a text thinking about you. I think as you and I have done and talk about it, but I think it's important to think about other people and to text them and just let them know they're thinking about them. Especially those that are, if you're here financially or business-wise, and you got somebody that's way up here. So I've got a friend of mine that his family started this little thing called Dollar General. Very wealthy man here in town that we all know. We're good friends, and I'll think about it. Man, I just want you to know, I'm thinking about you. And most of the time when somebody think about him, it's because I will go get some more money from him.
Right.
We try to get him to invest in this theater or whatever.
That's right.
And then I have people that they work construction. There's no way I'm thinking about them until they're in their eyes.
Right.
For me to reach out to them, let them know I'm thinking about them, raises them up. And it does both of them. And I just think it's important that we all communicate and we have a circle. And you have somebody that you can talk to. And we've arrived at a certain level. There's only so many people we can talk to about our especially the best 5% of your life or your day that you can't tell anybody. And then you got the worst 5% of your life or your day. If you tell anybody about that, you're just whining. And how can you be coach? If you got this, you're complaining about something. You got to be able to talk to somebody that's in your circle about those things. Because if you're the top 5%, if you talk about how we just got a new plane or I just ordered me a new rose colour and what's I did, and nobody wants to hear that shit.
I love it.
But you got to have. It's important to have friends, and it's important to have friends that are in business that relate to what you're going through. And glad to call you one of them.
I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
this has been great. I look forward. So is it? Where do people go today to find out about you? If they want to book you to speak, because you do speak a lot, and you got a book coming out, and you're building a brand. I mean, you built companies, but you now kind of have a brand of Chuck McDowell. You're doing podcasts. Your social media's taking your, where do people start going if they want to?
I kind of like the social media branding. I kind of don't. It's a little strange. Mainly it's strange because I know where I am business-wise. I know where what my brain's capable of because I've done it. And then I hear other people that they talk it, but
Yeah.
they've never done it.
Yeah.
And I love speaking. You know, I've got a friend of mine who's got a business in Atlanta, and he's losing the business. And I'm talking him through this.
Yeah.
And people need somebody like that to talk to.
Yep.
I put on Instagram the other day, if you got a business you think it's failing,
Yep.
and you want 30 minutes of my time, let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you.
Wow.
So I'd say Instagram, but
Yep.
you can just Google Chuck McDowell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to find. But
Yep.
Chuck McDowell or Wesley Financial Group, you can find me. And
Yep.
but if you're an entrepreneur and you're starting a business,
Yep.
and it's doing great, love to help you.
Yep.
If you're, of course, that won't last long. So when I say that, I go, oh shit.
Yep.
But if you're losing a business and you're
Yep.
going out of business and you think there may be a chance, my buddy in Atlanta has a successful business.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do with it. So
Yep.
for that reason, it's failing.
Wow.
I mean, he's got a positive cash flow.
Wow.
And he's going out of business.
Yeah.
And so I love that. So Jay only wants to work with companies that are doing
Right.
$50 million a year, and he take them to $100 million.
Right.
I love startups. I love
Yep.
people. I love to help people that are struggling because
Yep.
they need somebody.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
pretty easy to find.
What would you tell people, and this is a shameless plug for this place, but you've seen a lot of cool places.
Yep.
What would you tell people about the Greatness Factory? Like, how would you describe it to people? Because
Well,
you're a
you
marketing
can't.
guy.
Yeah, I'd have to think about how I would, because now you got me thinking. I will simply say that this is, it kind of has the feel of a wheel or should, of like a Soho house.
Yep.
It's like a private club that you can't get in.
Right.
But, an entrepreneur center, kind of
Yep.
feels like an entrepreneur center.
Yep.
But if you're not where you want to be in business, the first thing you have to do is put yourself around other people that are where you want to be.
Yeah.
So if I can put myself around other
That's right.
people that are already where I want to get to,
Yeah.
if I know I can go hang out with those people,
Yeah.
if I know that I can be sitting in there right now, and as soon as I walk in this room, you and I stand here, and somebody can walk up and talk to us and ask, hey man, I got this question. I've got this little something I'm working on at work, and I don't know what to do with it. We'd be happy to help them, but you have to be here.
Yeah.
So it's something you got to see it. The deal flow, the business, the energy. You need these all across the world, man.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm doing right now is I'm trying to clean my plate so I can do new stuff. That's why I closed the mortgage company. I would have
Yeah.
just kept going, but
Yeah.
right now we've got medical house calls in Wesley Financial Group. I've got Wesley Financial Group where I can spend 2 or 3 hours a week on it.
Yeah.
And it's soaring.
Yeah.
So to be able to work with other entrepreneurs is,
Yeah.
when I work with another entrepreneur, I get that feeling as if I just spent an hour and a half in the gym.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And to me, it's tithing.
Yeah.
I guess we could spend an hour podcast on the tithing, but just because you don't have to give money to a church to tithe.
Right.
I can tithe by giving a guy $10,000 to help him get over the hump in business,
Yep.
or giving him some advice, or giving somebody, or paying. When I go out to have dinner, over tip.
Yep.
When you valet, give them $50 or $100 if
Right.
you have it.
Yeah.
That's tithing, and it creates good karma, and it creates a nice clean brain.
Wow.
Where you don't feel like you're doing somebody wrong. You're just the opposite.
Yeah.
So if you're a restaurant that's 15, you can leave 15%.
Yeah.
Or you can leave,
Yeah.
double the check amount and say Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
The more you give.
Yeah.
You cannot get out of the way of that one.
Yeah.
I've not given and been selfish,
Yeah.
and I watched my life go down.
Wow.
I've given more than I should give till it hurt. Till I'm giving money that I shouldn't be giving
Yeah.
because I need it.
Yeah.
And I watch what happens. You
Wow.
cannot outgive God, man.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good one to end on.
There you go.
All right, Coach Micheal Burt here at the Level 10 Studios. Another edition of America's Coach with Chuck McDowell, the great entrepreneur, a great friend of mine, and really great businessman, and very charitable with helping people around the world. I've seen it personally. And Chuck, thank you for coming to the Greatness Factory.
Coach, always good, man. I love you, baby.
All right, brother. Love you too.